I'm muted. Hey everyone, welcome, 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 welcome. Welcome. Hey Vic, hey Jimmy, welcome, welcome. SW, welcome. Oh man, Chico's in the house. Queen Bella's in the house. Chris, welcome. Shauna B, welcome. Oh, Wim, how you doing, love? Christina, welcome. Shout out to everybody. Puretta, welcome. Chell, welcome. Tricky Vicky, everybody come through. Thank you for being here, everybody. Miss Liz, hey Ange, welcome. Stacy, hola, how you doing, love? Teresa, Stormy, how you doing, love? Everybody come through. Rose with Thorn. Oh my gosh, everybody. Thank you for being here. I saw everybody. Shout out to the member. This this is my addiction. This like I got 3 cases. Shout out to everybody. Thank you so much for that. Milana, how you doing? Desiree Snoop is in the house. Welcome. Everybody, welcome. Hey, everybody. Hey, Oki. I saw Diva up there as well. Shout out to you, Oki. Sandra, how you doing? Please, yes, don't forget to hit that like button. All right, we got to get into it, okay? Let me try to get comfortable here because I don't know about that. I don't think that's the case, Angelina. This man is okay. So let's start by here. I watched The Blind Side many years ago. Um, it was meant to be an inspirational story of a young man who had uncertainty in his life, a lot of foster care systems, and finds himself in a situation where a family is willing to adopt him. Okay, they adopt him, and they have a football star within him. I mean, he's well mannered, very well liked in the family. Um, Yeah. So here we are. I think the movie was released what in 2009. Here we are. What is it? 2023. Many years ago, and now we're finding out that there was no actual adoption. It was all a conservatorship. Now I am not well versed. You do you think she's gonna have something to say? Because I'm kind of curious about that too. I mean, I know she had tragedy recently within her family. I think her husband passed away or her partner. Don't get me wrong on that. Um, conservatorships definitely have lids on them, and I think it's one finally expired. Can be finally spilled the truth. Well, I don't know if it did. When was this conservatorship supposed to end? Because the way it's written now let's look at these legal docs. Now, shout out to BJ because I was in her chat and I was so happy that she reviewed them because I know she's like really good at breaking some of the conservatorship stuff down. I am not whatsoever, but some of the court docs were released to I got mine from the wkrn.com, so from a news site, and they of course they have the watermark, but I guess some like I wasn't able to find them on Pacer as well, but these are the official docs, but unofficial docs. Keep that in mind. So the biggest thing, I was reviewing this and they're about 26 pages, okay? The biggest thing for me is paragraph number 7 because like it first of all, if you're like, do teenagers really understand what conservatorships are, especially like when you're 17 or 18, or you're thinking you're signing a document that is meant to kind of like include you to a family situation, and then you're finding out, no, just kidding, you're not really part of the family, but your money is, but your likeness is, but whatever profits that you make are part of the family. That's how we. I was a little surprised. Yeah, and shout out to BJ because I said, BJ had pointed that out. Because I love her interpretation because she said it's likely the way that this document is written is not that he didn't know, but I think he's disputing the fact that even if he did know, even if that's the case, at the age that he was at, why wasn't he like granted an attorney to review the said documents? Why wasn't like he giving more resources? And why, if you're basing a true story, now mind you, yeah, listen, people say based on a true story, and I'm like, sure, because half of everything that's a true story really isn't. in Hollywood at least, just read between the lines. That's how I see it. How is it that they are using some of his true story? He doesn't make a dime off of that. He doesn't get to profit. And he's the one that, came from poverty, vulnerable population, given the fact that he's been like the way that the trauma that he's been through, number one, right? I don't know how I feel about this. Now, I went to the website. Let me show you what website I went to before we get into these court docs. Okay. And this is what they pointed out. This is Michael. And it says the adopted son of Sean, and Leanne Tuohy. Michael spent most of his childhood in various foster homes and moved in with the Tuohys when he was 16 years old. This is on Leanne's After the Blind Side About Me page website. So were we all misinformed in the movie as well, given that it is Hollywood? Yeah, I'd like to know why was it like, yeah. I'd like to understand. So my understanding is that a book was written before the movie, and the conservatorship had already been signed before they even did the movie. So he was already under signature and all that other stuff before they started any type of anything, right? Which in my mind, the way I remember, if I remember the movie correctly, it was like, you know, this was the only thing that could save this kid from what was going on. Here comes holier than thou, the Tuohy family, here to save this child and give this child opportunities. Could be guaranteed to play football was confusing to me. So Sean's statement about the conservatorship being the way Michael could be guaranteed to play football was confusing to me. So I was thinking about this too. I was thinking about this. I said, is it possible that they said to him, and this is my notebook, okay, some notes that I wrote. All right, you're part of this family. In addition to that, we'll get you connected with some of the folks that we know in the NFL and the football. Like you'll be guaranteed something, but you got to sign this in addition to the movie, to all this other stuff. You got to, not only sign this, but be in agreement with this, right? This conservatorship, because really, like, and there was no, like, I was sitting there and I said, there's no age limits. There's no like at the age of 21 or at the age of 25 upon review of the court's whatever. If we've determined that you are able to make decisions of yourselves, then, you'll be released. There was nothing. I didn't catch that. Yes, he was under 21. Can't be custody of the, I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, kids age out of the system. I've seen, foster care at the oldest, and that's with court oversight, at the age of 22, even though you're supposed to age out at 21, but they can petition you to continue to be ward of the state. Okay, like that can happen for sure. I don't know. So, of course, there is a lot of like, maybe they just felt like, all right, if we Katrina, thank you for becoming a member. If we do X, Y, and Z, you could be part of our family. You could be, you just focus on playing football. Because Michael, I remember, and there's even recent articles as of 2021, and I pulled some of these articles because there's articles out there, okay, where Michael spoke out and said that, the movie wasn't all correct. Let me show you guys. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about. Okay, this is all from, like, there was portions of the movie that were incorrect. This was back in 2021. This is an article that was written. There's a lot of articles that support Michael speaking out. And this is like a blogger, everydaykoala.com, okay, setting the record straight. He's been saying, like, listen, there might have been some stuff that could have been, like, it wasn't that I didn't have a hard life, but not everything was correct in the movie. So take that for what it's worth, like, and I think BJ and I have the same documents here, but This was interesting. So let's start right here, okay? Everybody come through and make sure you're hitting that like button, please, and thank you. Let's see, let's see. I don't know. That's a good question. This is 3 and Me. I didn't see. I'm not well versed on conservatorships. There are no expiration dates on conservatorships. That's what I thought. I thought there would be like a. I guess it depends on the attorneys. Now, the attorney sounds like the one that was making all of this happen was an Aunt Debbie. Aunt Debbie, the attorney. How does she profit from all this? I'd like to know. Just saying. Just saying. All right, let's get going and reading into this before baby money starts getting all crazy on me. You know how it is. Okay. Um, let's see. So this is a document. So we're just gonna kind of review and read a little bit. I am not an attorney. I'm just giving commentary to this. Okay. So this is the petition to terminate conservatorship for accounting and other relief. Okay. I believe this is out of probate court where this has been filed. Come now, Michael, or personally and by and through the undersigned counsel petitions the probate court for an order for a final accounting in the above referenced cause to close conservatorship for an order requiring co-conservators Sean Tuohy and Leigh Tuohy to show cause for failure to meet their required duties to provide regular accounting or to act in the best interest of the ward Michael, and for the applicable damages and relief in support of their petitioner other state unto this court. Here's the background. Michael, now age 37. Okay. Now age 37. And he's now filing. He's now telling the court, like, release me from like we're the same age, yo. Now age 37? It's ridiculous. Okay, mama. Give me one sec, guys. Sorry. We need to distract her a little bit. What if they did this originally so BioFamily didn't come through after his money? Impossible future fame. Heidi, that's interesting. Hmm. Heidi says, what if they did this originally so BioFamily didn't come after his money and possibly future fame? Well, I guess, but like, I don't know. To what point? Like, were there concerns that that would be the case? You know what I'm saying? Would there be concerns that that would be the case, that people would be coming after the money and whatnot? I don't know. I don't know, but I guess it's a good statement. Yeah, wouldn't exactly, At least wouldn't adopting, like, why not adopt this man? They led him to believe it, according to Michael, he was led to believe that he was adopted. So wouldn't adoption be kind of like, I don't know. But why didn't they stop it after he turned 21 or whatever? I don't know if there was any concerns. Well, I don't know, Heidi. We don't even know if he was in the system. Where do we know whether his parents' rights were terminated? That's another question. Because it sounds like he had been in various foster homes. We truly don't know. And the Glare says, I read about this a couple hours ago. Why does it have a watermark to say that it's not an official doc? I don't know. You believe him though? I don't know why it says that. That's a good point. We were trying to figure out how to pull this out of Pacer, and for whatever reason we couldn't pull it. I don't know. So take that for what it's worth. But I saw BJ read it too. Hey, Monica. Sorry about that. Heidi, that's a great thought, though, because Sean and Leanne were worth just as much if they were Michael. All right, let me stop. Adoptions are not new or unusual. Okay, so we don't know whether, okay, let's just talk about bio parents. What if bio parents' rights were terminated? Do we know that for a fact? As to why maybe they couldn't do anything about it, especially if he was 18, 19, 21? What were they going to do? How were they going to stop it? Like, what were parents really supposed to do at this point? Especially if maybe they didn't have sole physical custody of him. Just a thought. Ellen says, my divorce papers had a watermark too. They mailed the final copy. Did they? All right. Well, did they say something about not official documents? Yeah, they said this has watermarks all over. I don't know why. Keep that in mind. Um, okay, let's go. So He is now 37, grew up in Memphis, Shelby County, Tennessee, in the Hurt Village housing projects north of St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. Michael was one of the 12 children born to his mother, Denise. On April 14th, 1996, when Michael was not quite 11 years old, his custody was awarded. Okay, here you go. His custody was awarded to the Tennessee Department of Human Services, DHS, in whose legal care and control he would remain until becoming an adult. As a ward of the foster care system, DHS did little to help Michael. The representative of DHS tasked with caring for Michael ultimately lost track of him in a broken system, leaving Michael to live on the streets, taking care of himself as best as he could. Michael was a smart child, but his formal education was spotty to non existent. He attended 11 schools in 9 years, repeating the first and second grade. Um, would his education have been spotty enough to have needed a conservatorship? I don't think so. I don't think so. I agree. I agree with that. In my opinion, they seized an opportunity. Wasn't he 18 in high school? I turned 18 years old mid senior. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was senior year already 18. Maybe the kids, ooh, hold up. Maybe the kids want to split the inheritance with Michael, so they didn't know. Pixie, I don't know. I don't believe for a second that those people didn't get any money from the movie. They did. They did. They very much did. They made it. It's like a little over 3 million. A little over 3 million. Everybody, but it sounds like Michael benefited from the movie. Yeah, and he still the man got married while still under this conservatorship. He got married in 2022. They were dating for 17 years, two children together. So he may has some health issues with him playing football, and this is why this is now coming all out, in my opinion. Y'all, imagine getting married while you have a conservatorship. Like, first thing I learned in grad school social work is that frequent moves and school changes traumatize children. Yes, I moved around. I was one of those. I moved around a lot when I was a kid. Yeah. Marriage is a contract. He has no right to enter into contracts. Ooh, Nikki, do you think they would have had to have consented for him to have gotten married? Oh, snap. Really? They each got 14,000. Look, this is just I cannot. Yo, can you imagine like and you're calling these people mom and dad and legally they're not your mom and dad? Y'all know how hurtful that is? Anyways, so in the late summer of 2002, a kind man named Tony Henderson, the father of a friend of Michael's, witnessing witnessing firsthand Michael's focus and drive to pursue a better life, took it upon himself to find a school that would agree to provide Michael with a decent education. Mr. Henderson introduced Michael to the principal of Brycrest Christian School, Dr. Stephen, who recognized Michael's potential in their first meeting, and along with other administrators at Brightcrest agreed to provide him the life-changing opportunity of an education at their school. Brightcrest agreed to admit Michael as a student, and upon receiving satisfactory grades, followed him to participate in their sports program. In September 2003, Michael's junior year, so I think I'm older than Michael. Lord have mercy. I don't even know how. I forgot my age. Give me 1 second. I'm going to have to do some math. September 2003. Yes, Michael's junior year. Michael began playing sports at Brightcrest. From the beginning, he excelled. He made first staying for the Tennessee All-State game in both football and basketball and was selected to play in an All-American Bowl his senior year of football. It was clear that Michael had the size, speed, physical ability, mental acuity to be a star in college and afterwards. Football scholarship offers poured in from the powerhouse football universities across the nation. Michael was in his own. Michael was on his own at Brightcrest and nearly penniless. It took over an hour. riding buses and walking to get from Hurt Village to Brycrest. During his 10th and 11th grade year at Brycrest, between 2002 to 2004, Michael often stayed at home stayed at the home of the grandfather of his friends, Quintero Franklin, and he had other benefactors as well. He often stayed overnight at the homes of classmates whose parents saw Michael simply as an intelligent, polite young man who needed the basic supports when no person, agency, or other social system had been able to provide for Michael for most of his childhood. During the summer, after his junior year at Brightcrest, Michael also occasionally stayed with Sean and Leanne Tuohy, not Tony, Tuohy, where other parents of Michael's classmates. One second, y'all, baby bunny. Let me see. Make this smaller. Right. Why would they need that? Well, decision make? I don't know. This is a good question. How does one have a movie made about his own life struggles? The ones in control of the conservatorship get the benefits and control over the money. They saw an opportunity to benefit from Michael, but Michael, sad. Absolutely. The court handed them control with no legit reason. And Frenchie, no actual measure of like, all right, when Michael turns 21, we're going to check and see if this measure is still necessary for him. There was no control of that. Not at all. All right, let me see. And hopefully Baby Buddy doesn't scream again. Y'all hear her. Okay. So he stayed with Leanne and Sean, where other parents of Michael's classmates saw Michael simply as a nice kid in need. Conservators, Sean and Leanne, saw something else. A gullible young man whose athletic talent could be exploited for their own benefit. The Tuohys, who took no legal action in juvenile court to assume legal custody of Michael, a ward of the state, began inviting him into their large, beautiful home more and more often during the summers. Miss Tuohy began taking Michael on shopping trips and buying him clothes. So you're a kid who has to couch surf. The system is not keeping an eye on you. Your parents are struggling with whatever issues is going on. You come into somebody's house, you're the star athlete, you're doing very well, straight A's and whatnot. You come into somebody's house and they're feeding you, they're giving you a room, a couch, a bed. They got animals, they got siblings, very nice, tight knit family. You don't got to look behind you and watch your back or anything. Okay. You start seeing this. They take you on shopping trips. We don't know what conversations look like moving forward. God knows what he was promised. But I would want to stay in a home like that if what I had was the streets, staying at a friend's house at a couch. I would want to stay somewhere nice where it's warm and safe and I feel like there's some level of control about where I wake up. Yeah, I would definitely. Thank you, Jamie. I love that you said that. I would go for the love bombing. Absolutely. We don't know what trauma. We don't know nothing. They wooed him. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. I'm like, yeah, but they didn't file for him for like they could have gone to juvenile court. They could have contacted what is it, DHS, and said, hey, um, we'd like to adopt Michael. They didn't do that. Why didn't they do that? Any kid would be impressed by that. Any kid. So it is despicable. If what is being said here is true, okay, very much despicable. It is difficult to understand how Michael, having been 18 at the time of signing, didn't understand a conservatorship, but then tell me what 18-year-old signs to get no money. Right. Well, girl, well, everybody, let's put this out there. This is my thought process on this. You know how, like, if you've ever been 18, and I'm sure everybody here has been, or at least is 18, you know how especially when you go to college, there's like these credit card companies that want to sign you up right away, right? And you're able to sign a contract because you're an adult. I was a moron as well at the age of 18. If you told me that you were going, like, I remember one of my roommates signing some credit cards and then going shop. I think she bought me some shoes and she had never paid that credit card back. I don't think she did, you know, because she didn't have a full time job, but like they just let her borrow money. It's student money, right? She gonna pay it some other time. I don't know if she ever. I remember she bought me at the Foot Locker. She bought me some shoes, and I was always thinking. I was like, Did you ever pay that credit card? This was years ago. I was like 18. I was young, stupid. But yeah, like who thinks about things like that? Nobody does. Nobody does. You know. I know. I'm fair. Oh, yes, baby. But y'all can hear her in the background. I'm a mama full time. Y'all gotta understand that. You can hear her. She'll say her stuff. She'll protest. She's she's being taken care of right now. Okay. So of course, there was a lot of promises made. In July of 2004, after Michael became an adult but still enrolled as a student at the Brightcrest, and just before his senior year, the Tuohys invited Michael to come and live with them. At no point prior to this investigation during Michael's minority did the Tuohys take any legal action to assume custody of Michael from DHS through appropriate, which they could have. They could have gone through DHS. Okay, I've seen it happen a lot of times. Shout out to everybody that's ever been adopted, okay? Because I've seen a lot of adoptions happen. A lot of great people that want to help out those that are need help, and shout out to them, or are seeking to raise kids, and they want to do it, or even anything. Despite this inaction, the Tuohys did tell Michael they loved him and they intended to legally adopt him. Michael believed them, was delighted to be part of a real stable family, and trusted Mr. and Mrs. Tuohy completely. The Tuohys encouraged Michael to refer to them as mom and dad, air quotes, mom and dad. Michael completely complied. This paragraph number 7 really gets to me. It says almost immediately after Michael moved in, the Tuohys presented him with what he understood to be legal papers, were a necessary step in the adoption process. Michael trusted the Tuohys and signed where they told him to sign. What he signed, however, and unknown to Michael until after February of 2023, were not adoption papers or the equivalent of adoption papers. Instead, it was the petition for appointment of conservators, which was filed in this cause on August 9, 2004. So Michael was a junior in 2003. He would have been a senior in 2004, by Deborah, is it Brannon, attorney of record in this matter. Miss Brannon was so close to the Tuohy's family that Michael was encouraged to refer to her as Aunt Debbie. I wonder how much Aunt Debbie made, y'all. How much did Aunt Debbie made? Let me know, because seriously, it sounds like it. It sounds like it, right? Well, and that it gets in there. It gets in there as to what, like, I guess he was looking. I don't know if it was contracts. I don't know what exactly, but that's a good point. That's a good question to ask. Like, what made him to even check into this? So the attorney of record in this matter, Miss Brennan, was so close to the Tuohy family that Michael was encouraged to refer to her as Aunt Debbie. This petition filed on behalf of the Tuohy, Michael, and his mother, Denise, Miss Brennan as the attorney of record for all 4 petitioners, included a request that conservators have total control over Michael's ability to negotiate for entered and negotiate for or enter any contracts, despite the fact that he was 18 years old of he was 18 years old of age and had no diagnosed physical or psychological disabilities. So no disabilities. No disabilities. There's an excerpt, I guess a quote from there, that the best interest of said Michael Williams Jr. will be served by this court granting unto the said Sean Tuohy and wife Leanne Tuohy the full co-legal custody, guardianship, and conservatorship of that said Michael Williams, that they shall have all power of attorney to act on his behalf, and that the said Michael Williams shall not be allowed to enter into any contracts or bind himself without the direct approval of his guardian conservatorships. That the said Michael Williams will further not be allowed to make medical decisions for himself, and that the said guardian and conservatorships shall have full and complete authority to make medical and educational decisions on his behalf, and full and complete access to all of his medical and school records in the same vein as had they been his natural parents and guardians. Um, how was he That's a good question, though. How was he able to get married? Because wouldn't I could be wrong, but isn't marriage somebody pointed this out. Yeah, who claimed it? Did he claim his own taxes? Isn't marriage a contract too? I wonder if his marriage is valid. Right. If he's arguing that this is not valid, is his marriage valid? How is he able to enter into contracts? Like, did his wife know about this? Because he just got married, right? I have a lot of questions. I ain't gonna lie, I have a lot of questions. How did just curious. And I should have asked BJ in the chat. Marriage is not a contract. I thought marriage was a I could be wrong. Listen, I don't know. Let me see. Hold up. So, okay, so this is from the Legal Information Institute, okay? The Cornell education website. The basic elements of a marriage are the parties are legally elements. The parties' legal ability to marry each other is one, mutual consent of the party is two, and marriage contract as required by law is three. So, yes, marriage is a contract based on what the search says. Right. If it wasn't, really? I don't know. Let me show you guys what I just searched it. Don't take my word for take it for what it's worth, right? Take it for what it's worth. Keep that in mind. The basic elements of marriage. All right. Got it. So, basic element of marriage are one, the parties' legal ability to marry each other, two, mutual consent of the parties, and three, marriage contract as required by law. But then there's also common law. And I think my understanding, yeah, it's a contract. So if would did they have to consent for his marriage too? Thank you, Star said paralegal here. Definitely. So did they have to consent for Michael's marriage as well? I'm just curious. You know how like I see, and I'm not well versed in the Britney Spears stuff, but you know how in Britney Spears, like, wasn't there an issue with birth control and having children and something like that? I could be wrong. Hold up. Let me see if I can pull. Because CJ, or excuse me, not CJ, SJ Tui had an interview with Barstool Radio. I'm going to see if we could play a portion of this because he had something to say about this whole thing. Okay. And whether Michael knew or not, I'm kind of curious to know about this too, but guardian and conservatorships must approve a marriage license. So okay, and they had two children. So did they have to approve the marriage too? Now, listen, I'm curious. Maybe that's a question that BJ can answer. I really do hope that he does an interview with BJ. Oh my gosh, that would be phenomenal. That would be phenomenal. I'm here for that. Yes, I thought she had to wait to marry Sam until that conservatorship was gone. I might be mistaken though. You can't have kids under a conservator. They have two. Your body's not your own. It belongs to someone else. Remember, yeah, Vic, remember, I didn't follow the Britney Spears conservatorship, right? But if I remember correctly, if you're under a conservatorship, birth control, getting pregnant, all that ish is under that. It's like that also. Like if you want to remove your birth control, that's what it was. Let me see if I could pull it up. Hold up. Britney Spears, birth control. I remember there was something in the conservatorship. There was controversy over that. Yes, yes, I was right. I was right. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about. So that's on a conservatorship because you're basically, let me show y'all, okay? I was told right now in the conservatorship, I'm not able to get married or have a baby. I have an IUD. I have an IUD inside of me now, so I don't get pregnant. I want to take the IUD out so I can start trying to have another baby. Spears testified. This is back in 2021. This is a quote from ABC News. Yes, Brittany said she had an IUD placed in without her wanting. Don't know if that was a simply an abuse of power. So, wouldn't he be if he gets married, that would be a contract. Wouldn't have Sean and Leanne had to have consented to that too? I could be wrong. Let me play this and let me know your thoughts in the comments about this is SJ. This is the brother, or at least the son of Sean and Leanne.
I'm gonna preface in case someone says this freaking guy, I'm not gonna listen to him anymore. I'm gonna preface by saying that I loved Mike at 16. I love Mike at now he's 16 and a half years old, 37. And I love him at 67. So there's not going to be any legal dossier or thing that happens that's going to maybe go like screw that guy. It's not the case. I'll be mad at him. But to your initial point, no. I mean, if he says he learned that in February, I find that hard to believe. I went back to my text today to look at. I was curious today randomly to go back to look at our family group texts and text to see what things had been said, and there were things back in 2020, 2021 that were like, if you guys give me this much, then I won't go public with things. And
if you guys give me this much, then I won't go public with things. Is that what he's saying? Is he saying like, you give me this much money and I won't go public with things? Is that what he's saying?
So I don't know that's true. I think everyone learned in the past year about the conservatorship stuff because of Britney Spears. So maybe that's the case. But I don't. I mean, it doesn't.
So when did? If you're saying there was 2020, 2021 old text potentially where he's like, I won't go public, he wants this, that. When did the relationship, sounds like it deteriorated clearly.
Yes.
Is it around the movie? Like, is there a moment? Like, when did the relationship, and you made very clear, like, you can be mad and still love a guy, but like, when did the relationship between your family and Michael start to deteriorate?
Yeah, are these text messages going to be part of any type of discover? You know what I'm saying? Like anything that is going to support Sean and Leanne, where he's saying, I won't go public. But even if that's the case, even if he told Sean and Leanne that I'm not going to go public about the fact that I felt tricked into signing a conservatorship, that I thought I was going to be legally part of this family, even if that is the case, okay, so what is that? Is that supposed to do something? Like, if he's making the argument that he was 18 and not legally or like not of I don't know, good judgment to have made those types of decisions at that time. Something to think about.
I again, looking back at text, when I was leaving Liberty to come to UCF, to where I work in college football, I was kind of torn. I had a good situation in Lynchburg, and I worked for a guy that Mike and I both knew. And if you read Mike's new book, he obviously hypes up Coach Freeze a lot. And I remember texting him and I asked for like advice, and there was like profound, good brotherly advice in the text that he sent on that day. And then like the next text is like something kind of completely different. So it wasn't, I don't think, one moment, and I'm hopeful that it won't be that forever as it is. But yeah, I think when he stopped playing and everything kind of settled down, and I don't know the exact time. That'd be a question for him. There obviously is a time, because you can go back and look at social media posts from 2015, 16, 17, everything's fine and dandy. And I think it built up over time for him. And it's hard when you talk about people's money. The blind side made a lot of money.
I mean, they made a lot of money. If they could prove that they told him he was being adopted, he might have a case, right? It's sad, you know, just sad. I don't know.
I wish the first lawsuit that he's pissed about that he didn't get it. I'm like, man, if you win every dollar that you get, that's great crap. Because then I can do the same thing. Obviously, he's the star, but there's no story without him. He is the star of everything he's done in his life. But I'm like,
thank you. There is no story without Michael. There would be no Tuohys. There would be no family that saved a kid from poverty type of story. Which, by the way, I did get his book, Michael's book on Audibles. So I'm gonna listen to it and see if it's something that we want to review here. Let me know your thoughts, because I like to hear. I think he released his book just recently, my understanding, but I got it on Audibles. I downloaded the app, so I'm kind of curious to know what he has to say about all this too.
Man, the same thing these writers and actors are pissed about now. It's not crazy different. He wants more royalties and wants to say the Hollywood is going to screw people out of their deal. So I was like all for it initially, and still am. Man, I hope he gets everything that's entitled to him legally. But I don't think it's going to come in the form of the ESPN story today.
I think a lot of the a lot of mentioning of the movie and how much money it makes also kind of implies that you guys as a family were benefiting and he was not. Was everybody but him getting paid off of that, or how'd the money shake out?
No, and I don't want to take too much thunder. I don't know if I can legally say this, but there's an article be written in the Atlantic with a couple guys that were really, really understand the finances of that situation really well, and that would be something to look for. But no, I've never once talked about truthfully how much money I have made off the movie. But candidly, I don't care how much. It's going to be public record anyway. But for years, I remember I got the first check from the University of Arkansas.
He has not. It's going to be public record how much they've actually made at some point, right?
We were trying not to give me illegal recruiting implications. I was around my house at the time, and I met my dad for lunch, and he gave me a check. And I'm like, "You paid all this thing?" He's like, "Yeah, it's made so much money now that like they can't hide it." I think it was like 2.5% kicker.
Yes.
Again, it'll be public, so someone that really cares to go back and read through it can do so. And I bet through that we as in me personally only, because I can speak for that. I've made like 60, 70 grand over the course of the last 4 or 5 years. It comes in like the first year was like a $14,000 check, and then it was like an 8 and 7, whatever, so on and so forth down. That math didn't add up, but it started off a little higher and then it went down. Which after it made hundreds of millions of dollars, I think that someone said, okay, we can't hide this any longer. The money he's suing for is actually the same thing. It'll be very well documented. It was I was reading through this morning, but
the money he's suing is well documented.
It was a couple $100,000 that the movie actually gave us. I don't remember the timeline because I was young and I wasn't involved, but it was like you can get it's $200,000 to a charity of your choice.
You have to donate the money?
Yeah, so not personally from the money. Like when the movie came out, we got paid off the naming rights. We got like $12,000, and then off those same naming rights, 10 years later, me personally got $14,000, whatever it was, and so on and so forth down. But like maybe 4 or 5 years after the movie came out, and it was clear it was making a lot of money. You'll see this in the article, but I want to say Alcon, I guess. Someone's like, hey, this is doing great. It's a great story. We're going to donate $400,000 to charities of your choice. I'm sure they had to write something off. And they did $200 to My Family Foundation, the Making It Happen Foundation, and then Mike's was going to be $200 separately. And it's super well documented that he was middle plan too, so he had a lot going on at the time. That probably wasn't a ton of money to him, but he was like, I don't want to be involved with that.
I don't know. I'm raising my eyebrows, both of them, like that. Because a lot of this is not making a lot of sense. I really do feel like I hope I am going to be following this a little bit. I'm not well versed in conservatorships, so I'm going to have to like do some research and understand. The only one that I know about is the one with Britney Spears, and even that was like crazy. In general, it truly is. Yes, gave us, and he is 6 years younger, right, Mama? Right. Anyways, guys, I'm having to head out because I got baby Bunny over here, and she wants you want my attention? You do? I gotta go tend to her. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you're gonna be following this, are you gonna be buying the book, reading the book? Let me know, because I like to read it, and maybe we can review it. I know we can't read it out loud, but I like to review it with everybody. Let me know your thoughts in the comments about this situation. I will see you guys on the next one. Rabbits out.